Good morning, folks. Good morning. On the beautiful day that the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. So, here we go with more. This is our little scene in progress from yesterday. So, we'll pick it up here. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm making a film, a little short animated film. And these videos that I'm making, I'm doing this to show how I'm making the film step by step. So if you are making your own animated film and you wanted to see someone who's working on something, this would be the opportunity for you to see that in real time. Um, this is could be helpful to someone who I don't know. I know there are lots of instructional videos on YouTube. However, one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of them are time-lapse videos, which in my opinion as a teacher myself are not necessarily that helpful because a lot of times you can't always tell what the person's doing in a time-lapse video. Whereas if you see someone like myself doing something in real time, even though I don't get very far more than I usually, these videos are usually about 20 minutes, between 20 and 30 minutes long. Even though I don't get very far, at least you are understanding what it is I'm doing, how I'm doing it, what type of software I'm using, all of that, which I would imagine would be much more helpful to you than saying looking at a video that might be 6 hours long, but it's a time-lapse video that you have to frame by frame decipher what is the person that's working on this doing, what's actually happening from one moment to the next. It's not to say you can't decipher that, but in some ways I think it's a lot more confusing to do it that way as opposed to real-time video where you see the person actually doing it in real time and they can talk about it. Plus, I offer that if you do have a question about something, put it in the comments. I usually will eventually check comments and I can get back to you. Also, on my site, there is a website that shows some of my work and also has a contact point from that website so that if you want to send me an email through that website contact, you can do that. And that'll be another way for you to ask a question. And I will try to be timely about getting an answer to you. Okay, well, hey, so here we go. Anyway, so what we're doing right now is I'm working on the in-betweens for the scene. And we've gotten up to here. This is frame 19. This is frame 25. So the first thing we need to do here is take frame 25 and take the drawing count down to 2. And the reason why we're taking the drawing count down to 2 is because ultimately it will be 2 frames. And so we're going to go from 19 to 25. And you can see here with the chart, it's going to be 19, 23. That's going to be 19, 21, 23, and then 25. So 23 is our first in between. So we'll go back to 19. We'll go up to here where it says add a drawing, and we'll add after. Now, whatever you have, this is a rough animator I'm using, by the way. This is the program I'm working in. When you hit this button, whatever the frame count is that's set in your timeline, add after is adding that as a new frame. So in this case, when I click on it, it's adding a 2-frame space, which will be a 2-frame in between. So now this drawing that I just did, or that I just added, now will become drawing 23. And since it's the first in between, that is what we call a breakdown. A breakdown is the first major in between any 2 drawings. And that breaks down the action into its major positions. So we're going from here to here. Now, up until now, I've been copy pasting previous drawings, but this one is going to be different because this one, you can see he's turning the block is actually turning in space here. So we have to roughly sketch in how the block is shifting perspective here. And I do the block first. So we're there, there, there. Okay. And then on each character, I'm going to add an in between, but I'm just going to very firstly roughly place where each character is going to go, looking at the distance for the in between. Now, as Miguel turns his head, I got to start to slightly shift the perspective on his head as his head turns to get this in between position. We're here, here, there. Now that middle position, you see, is going to cause the middle part of his head. See here, his head is in a profile, and here his head is in a 3/4. So now I need to make sure that this middle position is a breakdown to get to there. So as he starts to turn his head, you see, we're going to start to see the other eye appear on this side here. So we have to anticipate that. Also, too, his looks like his eyebrows are going up. So we have to roll the drawing. See, ding, ding, ding. You can see as his head slowly turns, you see. And when you're drawing on paper, usually you will use one hand to roll the drawings while you're in betweening with the other. Digitally, it's a little different. You have to literally scroll the drawings, and there is a feature on here that allows you to do that, though I can honestly tell you I don't really use that feature. I actually just um, tap each drawing in the timeline, and that's how I scroll. It's not, I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to do it with Rough Animator. Some of you who have been using Rough Animator, maybe you know a little bit better about that than I do. I just tap the drawings as I'm going from one to the next. So you can see go here, here, here. Okay. Now on his mouth, there, there, there. So you can see I started to bring the mouth where we can see it open a little bit here. To get your in-between right, you're going to be constantly making adjustments. So now he's coming, his body is coming forward. So you got his hands on the thing here and then here. So in that mid position, see, I will just roughly indicate where an arm or a shoulder is. And just flip the drawings a little bit. Think. Yeah, because see, it's a process. You don't always see everything in your first attempt. You know, you keep rolling the drawings to see how it's progressing. Right? Think, think. So that's looking pretty good. Now, of course, as something is moving in real time, you're not going to see, it's moving a lot of times so fast that you're not going to really see, whether you get the drawing 100% correct or not. You're almost not going to see it, almost. That doesn't mean you don't try to make it accurate. You do your best. I think, you always, at Disney, we were always just taught to put, our best foot forward on every drawing, to try to get it as correct as you can get it. See, that hand is, yeah. Now see, the hand on the other side is going to disappear, see, back here. So you might have this hand back here behind that block. It's kind of disappearing, you see, behind the block. So you know what it's got to do, right, to be in the right space. There we go. All right, now we got a similar thing going on with Jason. You see Jason starts out in a profile here, and then he ends up in a 3/4 there. So for that, same thing, we've got to turn his head. So somewhere in here is where this head starts to turn, you see. So we can just very roughly indicate that. And what you want to do is show the eye line and the nose line so that as his head turns, you can get a sense that his head is turning from, let's see here, from the profile to, to more of a 3/4. And so, oops. Not really sure what it's doing there. Oh, there we go. So, he's slowly, his head is slowly turning from the profile to 3/4. So he's there, he's there, he's there. That's not too bad. Not fantastic, but not bad. His hair. I'm realizing too nowadays, that they've got all these wonderful programs that you can build a character's a character model and have it almost literally look like it's a three-dimensional model. And I'm thinking, gosh, what a cool device, really, because that could make it easier for you to create the three-dimensional feel where a character's head is turning. I would think. See, like if I play this, yeah. See, it's moved so quickly, but you can see that just that even a rough position of the head in the middle position, it gives the impression that the head does turn dimensionally. So, but you're approximating that. I'm used to working on paper, so I'm used to visually approximating with my drawing what the character's head and body are doing. I mean, you think of it, the great animators of yesteryear, this is what they had to do. It was all done by hand, by eye, getting the in-between drawings in the right place. And you had literally hundreds of people contributing to making, say, drawings look like they were moving in space. And, that's a feat in and of itself. Let's see the hand coming through here. That's why when I look at something like, say Pinocchio or some of the older Disney films, I'm just amazed when I think of the level of skill and work that it took to get these films made in at that time. The level of technical skill, the level of artistic skill. It's just absolutely remarkable that they could do that. Okay, play that. Remarkable. So we've got 23 there. Now we'll go back and do 21, which is a drawing that's going to be between here, 19, and 23. So we'll go to 19, add after, and then this will now be 21, which is a pure in between. And indicate the block here. I think I just realized that I forgot to put the block down on the bottom side, the bottom part of the block, or the bottom block rather. I think I might have left off of that previous set of drawings. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Did I? Oh, I did. Oh, no, I did do 23. Okay. Okay, I wasn't sure if I got that right. All right, so 21. So we'll go here and get the head done here. The first part we had was the easy part where we were copy pasting in betweens because the character wasn't moving too much. Now we're down to the real stuff where you got to really draw the character's head changing. Yeah, you can get away with stuff for a little while, and then eventually it starts getting hard. Let's see, the nose is there. And we start to see the other side of the face here. A lot of times your first in-betweens, you're just literally kind of putting lines between lines just to sort of see where the general masses are for your in-between. And then you step through the in-between to see, is it more or less in the right spot? And if it looks like it's more or less in the right spot, that's a good sign. Because that's really all you're trying to do, is you're trying to get it roughly where in the right place where it's supposed to be. Okay. Yeah. That's what you're trying to do. So in-betweens are not really not easy to do, especially when you're generally drawing, when you're actually drawing positions. Though I would imagine like I said, I'm seeing things online all the time that show me that you can make something, you can make a drawing and have it be dimensional. And I'm thinking, gosh, that's great. Because then that would mean you could then grab that dimensional drawing and turn it the way you'd want it for your in-betweens, and they would be perfect in-betweens. I think, gosh, what a wonderful tool that would be. So I don't know. I'm guessing that I just need to kind of find out what this software is, how to use it. Maybe that would be the way to create models of characters, you know. Because that's the beautiful thing about 3D animation, really, is that you're dealing with a three-dimensional model, and you can just turn it so that it's always going to be perfect from every angle. Whereas when you're drawing, you're trying to create the illusion of the dimensions. So it's not the real dimensions, it's how you're perceiving them, which, believe you me, is a lot harder to do. This is what I mean about the old Disney animators. That's what they had to do, and very difficult to do. Very, very difficult to turn something in space because you're eyeballing it. You're eyeballing that dimensional change. Easy to say, not easy to accomplish. But if you've got a 3D model, you've taken the drawing and you've created this kind of 3D-ish model, that's pretty cool. That's a cool idea. I would think that would be the way to do it. Let's see. So, tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay, well, we're going to stop here. We still got some few in-betweens yet left to finish on this scene. Okay, all right, good people. Well, it's Friday, so the Sabbath is tomorrow, time to rest. So you all have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you next week. Don't forget once again to thank God for your talents and gifts. We as artists are particularly blessed in this direction in our ability to create and envision things. And our Father in heaven is an artist as well in creating man and creating us. So we've been given a special gift. But everyone's given a special gift, and that's the beauty of life. Have a good weekend, folks. Don't forget to thank God for your gifts. And always remember that had it not been for Jesus, none of us would have right relationship with the Father. And He is the one from which all life comes. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the Sabbath. And I'll see you on Monday.